Hi, I'm Danny.
I'm Sam.
And this is in a Brew.
We'll be poring over business stories
and talking about things that interest us in the world of business.
So we'd like you to just take a few minutes out, listen.
Yeah, we'd love it if you join our conversation with us.
Hi.
So today we're going to have a bit of a debate around the world of dating apps. So I'm just going to talk to you briefly about Bumble, because I think Bumble is a bit different. But then we're just going to have a general chit chat, as is the format generally.
So how many dating apps are there in the UK, particularly? Obviously,
horrific amount.
Right.
I don't know, but there's a lot. I mean, it's funny actually, because I've seen lately there's a move back towards in-person dating experiences, because I think online dating at first was a novelty and it was a great way to meet people and everything was going digital, but now there's such a craving for in-person events. Same's true of business networking. That's gone very much back to in-person events.
Yeah.
So I think it is, to pottery classes and meeting people in real life.
Right.
Because it does remove a lot of the element of, is this person telling the truth? Because they haven't got anything to hide behind.
And it's gone through a Wild West kind of process, hasn't it?
Yeah. And I think there are so many people out there using the platforms that everyone's got different intentions, but then the same could be true of someone you meet in the street or in the pub or whatever else. You don't always know what someone's ultimate goal is. But anyway, I'm going to tell you about this app. So there's a lady called Whitney Wolfe Herd, which is hard to say, but I think it's a pretty name.
Whitney Wolfe Herd?
Whitney Wolfe Herd. Okay. And she was co-founder of Tinder. But she was quite badly harassed by one of the executives who was actually also her ex-boyfriend. And essentially she complained about the sexual harassment and was ousted by the company. So she had a really, really bad experience. I mean, obviously she was a believer in the idea of dating apps and the idea of the social connection platforms, but she'd had this bad experience. And she believed that in a lot of cases, apps like Tinder and other dating apps put women in quite a precarious and potentially unpleasant situation where you could be approached by thousands of men and you have to weed through everyone and you don't really know what's going on. She wanted to create something that was different. She wanted to create something where women had more control. So Bumble as a dating platform was designed so that women had to send the first message. As a man on the platform, you cannot send a message. You can like someone, as in you can give them a little heart or whatever it is, but you can't send a message. You have to wait for a woman to send you a message first, which gives them a sense of control. I mean, how realistic that control is down the line, I don't know, because you're only basing that first message, that first contact on what you can see on that platform. So you could still be catfish, you could still be whatever else, but it was designed to send that first message. And I think the fact that that was based on her own experiences is really, really interesting, because she's got a massive passion about trying to solve the problem of the digital dating landscape where women are bullied and harassed on a regular basis. Because you are just almost a sitting duck for all and sundry to come at you, and I don't think that's fair.
Often very subtly as well.
Yes, maybe in a way you don't recognize, love bombing, for example, or ways you don't recognise at first as red flags, because you're either not used to receiving affection, or you don't know what it should look like in a healthy relationship, or you're only ever really getting half the picture of someone by 3 or 4 messages, because it is incredibly hard. You've got no body language to go on. You've got no visual clues. You've got maybe a handful of photos. And let's be honest, they'll be your best photos. It's like social media, isn't it? You're not going to put the photo up where you've got a mouthful of burger and your hair's all over the place. You're going to put up your good photo with a puppy or holding a baby or looking cute.
Never a hammer.
Never a hammer or any kind of weapony object. Because someone gave me an example of someone, I've heard it before, lots of people put inappropriate, what are supposed to be funny things on dating sites that just don't land very well because you think they're funny. And actually it doesn't come across that way, because, again, it's like text messages, misinterpretation, confusion. You don't really know what you're getting. So I do think it was really, really interesting that she made an effort to regulate behaviour on the internet by doing something different. How effective that is, I don't really know. I mean, the app itself is worth between 269 and 275 million in 2024. So it's not a small business. It's not it's big business. Dating is big business. So obviously people are taken by it. But I don't know how effective it is trying to regulate this level of human behaviour in any space, online or offline, in fact. I don't know how easy it is. I love the fact that someone has taken their life experiences and done something about it. They've gone, this is wrong, this shouldn't have happened to me, and I don't want it to happen to anyone else. Yeah. I'm going to do this. But how much genuine impact can that one thing have? Or does it not matter? Because even if it saves one person, does it make a difference? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Not been a big user of dating apps.
No. Dinosaurs didn't have. That was really mean. I'm sorry. I take that back.
My thoughts are fairly limited. But
all right. Imagine you had to go on one now. How do you feel about the thought of being on a dating app? Would you?
The thought of it is immediately repellent, but also then there's a necessity to actually. It's perhaps the only place that you can go where
you can meet people.
I meet people all the time. But it's the unknown nature of what you're getting yourself into, and I suppose if I'm feeling like that, then how's a woman feeling about it?
I suppose
if they've come out of let's say a harmful relationship, for example, they're putting themselves out and above the parapet. There must be a lot of nervousness around that. But the point of putting the control within the woman's realm is it's a very interesting flip to it, because to have two people both having the ability to send messages.
Yeah, and you think of the adage that you go up to the pub first. Yes.
Yes, but it's balanced, but actually an awful lot of what goes on in life actually is imbalanced.
Yeah.
So I get, having a unique selling point, and that is
absolutely is. But there's like a trope that men have to go up to you first and offer to buy you a drink in the bar or talk to you first. A woman wouldn't ever approach a man. Yeah. There's a trope, isn't it? I didn't make that word up. Okay, good. Yeah. It does flip that on its head.
Yeah.
But to a degree, I think there are a lot of women who maybe wouldn't feel comfortable making that first move. What if he doesn't respond to my message? What if he thinks I'm crazy for even maybe I'm punching above my weight? It must take quite a bit of balls to go, right, that guy, I think they're a prospect, I'm going to message them. So it must be, whilst I think it could be empowering for women and why I think it could serve a real purpose. So whilst I think there is a place for women having that agency and that control, I think there's also the flip side of it that could put some people off. So yes, it is a USP, but in some ways that might actually be something that puts people off.
Like, I'm not used to that. I don't like the idea of that because I'm used to taking the first step and I'm used to being in control.
Yeah, or I don't want to be the one who makes the first move. I want them to come to me so I know they genuinely like me instead of...
It puts the male in the passive role.
Yes, which I imagine some men are not used to.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine by the same token, some would enjoy it. There's a place for everyone. Yeah. But I just think it's really, really interesting that you can develop something based on your experience. And there are loads of businesses out there that are based on people's experiences. And I think if it is, it's quite clever because you become the ideal client. You know that person inside out. You know yourself inside out. You know what you've been through. So you know what you need to build into your product or your service or your whatever it is to make it successful for that end user.
How many members does Fumble have?
I actually don't know, but I know you're going to tell me.
Well, I don't want to tell you.
No, but you look like you want to tell me.
Well, yeah, but it's close to 60 million, which is a huge number, and that's as of last year.
Right, based on the fact that I have no concept of size or
volume, against the others, but
how many people are in the
UK? 65 or there.
So basically the entire UK.
Yeah,
but
in
not.
Terms of but it's not obviously because it's crossing over into Europe and the States.
Yeah.
But that's quite a lot of people.
That is a lot of people who obviously feel the system works.
Yeah. It's just interesting to run that up against the others. But Tinder is enormous, totally globally enormous.
I think you'd find there are a few massive players. And it depends what it is, because there's also things like Plenty of Fish. But actually, when you go on certain apps like Plenty of Fish, they are multi-platforms under a single company.
Yes.
So they sound like 4 different dating apps. They're actually not, and they'll cross-pollinate between the platforms.
Bumble has another brand. It's not just Bumble.
Is it not?
It does another one. It owns another one.
There is a Bumble networking, and there's a Bumble friend finder, and there's a Bumble dating.
Right.
Because I used Bumble networking for a while.
But is it not connected?
FYI, didn't stop the creeps, even though I got to message first.
Right, interesting. Badoo is part of Bumble.
That is true, yes. Yeah. And it's cross-platform. So
got it.
You could be chatting to someone and go, what made you join Bumble? And they'll go, where? I'm on Badoo, what are you talking about? And because it cross-pollinates between the two to give you bigger numbers.
Yeah.
So.
But does that also have the same...
I don't think it does.
Female empowerment? Oh, okay, that's interesting, isn't it?
Although it would have to.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'd be getting random messages going, but I signed up for Bumble, why is this chap messaging me?
Yeah.
And I'd also be curious how many profiles on there are real.
Yeah. But its origins, it's what you're talking about. It's the origin story of how it has come to be.
Yes.
It's come to be off the back of a bad experience, a life experience and a bad experience.
Yeah, and as I was saying before, I think that is a really strong way to develop a product or service based on customer need, because you get that customer, you get them inside out, upside down.
Absolutely. But of course, if she was ex-Tinder, she's armed with the knowledge of exactly how to then
100%.
Put the whole thing together.
You've got like roller skates on when you're doing the 100-meter sprint against someone else.
Yeah. I'm just surprised there wasn't some kind of non-competitive clause in her contract when she was director. Just imagine that. They all had to sign up.
Or maybe the legal department are kicking themselves.
Yeah. If she was a founder, then chances are there would be no such.
No, because you set it up. It's your company. You can do what you like. Yeah. Just think it's really interesting.
Yeah, it is fascinating. One that I kind of would require a bit more digging, actually. I don't mean from you, but I mean...
No, I mean generally. But
if you're interested, I just...
But I think you could spend hours looking into Tinder itself. You could spend hours looking into any of the dating platforms, I suppose.
Well, instead of doing that, just go and try it.
No, thanks. No, it's really it's not put me off. I wasn't planning to go on them anyway. I
know what I'm going to do tonight.
Really? That's going to be an exciting night, isn't it? Make sure you get your best photos and put a quippy line in there that's going to drag people in. That's going to be great. Yeah. Okay. Enjoy that.
Not what I was thinking of doing.
No?
Okay.
What were you thinking of doing?
Not putting a mask on.
You're so weird. Anyway, thanks for listening.
All right.
All right. Thanks so much for listening and being a part of today's episode.
If you like what you've heard, or if you feel there's something missing, or you want to ask any questions, please get in contact.
And if you love listening to us as much as we love talking to you, subscribe, download, leave us a review. All the love helps.
Thank you.